Matthew chapter 5, beginning in verse 3. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. We've been working our way through what some call the Beatitudes, or the blessings, in the Sermon on the Mount. We find that those who are in desperation, those who are down and out, those who have no place to turn, find that theirs is the kingdom of heaven, because Jesus is the answer to their need. We find that those who are mourning and grieving and struggling with life are comforted because Jesus is the answer to their need. We find that those who are humble and meek discover that they receive the inheritance of life and the earth because Jesus meets their need. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness because Jesus meets their need. What does it mean to be hungry? Well, how many of you have missed 3 or 4 meals in a row? Doesn't happen very often, does it? We're used to those 3 squares. I'm not sure what the square is all about, but we certainly look forward to dinner time and breakfast time and supper time and whatever you want to call them. We often have times in between. But if you think about it, some of us just can't get enough. We want more and more. How many have ever gone into a candy store? All the different kinds of candy. The question is, how much money can I let loose of to get some of this candy? Because you look down the row and you see all these different kinds and you think, I wonder what that one tastes like. Boy, I'd like that one. That's the way we are. When it talks here about hungering and thirsting for righteousness, it is that same kind of desire that we should have for the things of God. That same craving and urging to taste and enjoy and consume the wonders and the word and the majesty and the grace of God. And the promise is that if we are hungry for God, He will satisfy us. If we are thirsty for God, He will satisfy us. We will be filled, we'll be satisfied, because God is the source of every good thing. Now, how many of you worry when you sit down to dinner that you're eating something you shouldn't eat? Maybe you've got an allergy to something, or just don't like a particular kind of flavor or texture. There are times when we don't know exactly what's in the food. And we hear all this stuff about organic food. Now, I don't know how many of you really like organic food. Now, they tell me that the difference between real food and organic food is that real food might have been genetically engineered, or it might have been had some fertilizer put on the plants to keep the bugs from eating it. With organic food, they just let you have the bugs with it. With organic food, instead of using regular fertilizer, they use other stuff. But anyway, all of God's food is good. We might not always like what we get, because sometimes His food, His nourishment, confronts us in ways we don't like. But if we are hungry and thirsty for righteousness, we will be satisfied. Now let me ask you, how many have ever seen a movie about the Old West, where this guy is going through the desert and doesn't have any water? He runs out of everything to drink. Let me ask you a question. If you were in that position, would you care what you got to drink? You just want anything you could get, anything a little bit liquid. I understand that if you take a cactus and you take and cut it open, that there's liquid in it. Now, I can't imagine doing that, but I don't grab hold of cactus very often anyway. But when we think about it, Jesus is here as the living water to nourish and satisfy our every craving for Him. He's the one that took the ordinary water and turned it into the best wine at the wedding feast. He's the one who satisfies our every need. But the challenge for us is that we need to become hungry for the things of God and thirsty for the things of God, so that He might indeed satisfy our desires. Let us pray. Almighty Heavenly Father, nourish us, satisfy our needs, our desire to learn and to grow and to be what You desire. Fill us with Your Spirit, Lord. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.